So, it's been a year. I bought my Flux 125 almost exactly a year ago. It was in March, maybe April. I had to return it. The trigger assembly on the feed mechanism, the trigger, failed. No big deal. I walked in, said, "What's wrong with it?" I told them. They said, "Set it down." I set it down. Go pick you out another one. When I picked out another one, they transferred my 1-year service agreement over to this new one. So now this one's covered until, last month. And it's still trucking along. The only thing that I've changed is I no longer run 2-pound or the 1-pounders. Nah, ate me a couple of those 10s. And it runs them just fine. I'm sure it's not good on the motor, the drive motor. I haven't noticed any bog or any, letdown whatsoever on it. I've done a lot of playing and a lot of welding over the last year. A lot. Made some pretty interesting tools. Some pretty interesting videos. And one of the tools that I made, you're going to love this. So I'm doing all the work on my truck. I'm doing that engine work and whatnot. If you follow my channel, or if you stay on my channel or whatever, you know pretty much what's been going on is that active fuel management, displacement on demand. I'm going to do another video later this week probably, to discuss some of that, where I'm at with it and what I'm kind of wanting to do. And I'm really wanting to help a lot of people with this. There's tons of information out there about the active fuel management, the displacement on demand thing. There's plenty of videos out there, no doubt. A lot of guys out there knew about this, and I didn't know about this until about 3 weeks ago. Anyway, yeah, it's like in the process of pulling this motor apart, I needed a friggin' pulley puller. So I went up and borrowed one from my neighbor, and sure enough, it's definitely seen better days. The bolt that was in the center of it was, what would you call it? Oh, I'll tell you what you call it. You call it a carriage bolt. That's what he was using as his centerline bolt. So I made him something fairly nice. I mean, I did it for myself, don't get me wrong, primarily because I was using it. But it's something I can pass on back to him. So it's a kind of like a pay it forward type thing. So what I did was, it's not gonna work, is it? Okay, sorry. What the hell is that? So what I did was, I took his pulley system, the puller, the jaws. He's got one of those 3 points. It's reversible. And I took that little slimy bolt out of the center because it was all bent in half. And that was a 1/2 inch by, I think, 8 inch carriage bolt. So, these center lines, they come pre-tapped anyway, so that you could, drive your bolt down through there. It's got I forget what they call it now, jam nut. It's got a jam nut on it as well. None of that was working properly, so I just took it all out. I re-tapped the hole for 5/8 instead of 1/2 inch. And I had a piece of rod laying there. And you can see what kind of force I'm putting on it. I mean, it bent the tip of the rod. This was originally made for a vise, you know, the lead screw on a vise. Well, I got that piece of rod in there, a threaded rod, and I got to thinking about it. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to turn this thing? You can put a vice grip on the end of it, and you're just fine, but longevity. So I took an old Stanley socket that I had, 15 millimeter. It's an old one. It's like seen better, way better days. In fact, I think it had a crack right along here. I welded it on the end of that rod. You know, of course, I shoved it down in there. Well, so I was kind of leery whether or not it was even going to work, to be honest with you. But at every necessity comes a tool. You know, it begged the question, you know, everybody else was talking about this special tool that I was going to have to call, you know, in order and find this, that, and the other. And yes, it took me 5 hours to, number one, come up with that working prototype, or that working contraption. And having said all of that, it took me 15 minutes to pull this freaking pulley. The harmonic balancer. And it's, you know, it's a double. I don't have a use for a third. I mean, I don't drive a Camaro or a Corvette. You know, I don't have a supercharger I gotta worry about. And even if I did, yeah, well, there is that, right? So, as it is right now, I've got just about everything pulled that needs to be pulled except the heads and the timing cover. My grandfather told me when I was a little boy, and we were working on cars, and he was showing me, you know, certain things when I was growing up. I was probably 11 or 12 years old. He told me, he said, listen, these are certain things you don't take apart. Number one, if you can't cover them right away or put the parts right back, if you don't have them to replace right away, don't uncover them yet. Your timing cover is one of them, especially these newer engines with this variable valve timing. It's all self-adjusting. It's all, you know, you line everything up and that's it. It takes care of itself. You cannot let a bunch of grime get in that stuff. So, you know, I leave the covers on. It's not gonna hurt nothing. Pull all but 3 screws or 3 bolts, you know, maybe 4, and ready for the next day. And in case you're wondering, yeah, it's a little chilly up here. Temperature dropped about, I don't know, maybe 20 degrees just in the last hour. No, I mean, sorry, the last 5 hours. So it's gotten a little chilly up here tonight. But anyway, that was my ingenuity for the day. That the little pulley puller, you know, the bolt system more than anything. So we got I went ahead and I ordered the entire kit from AMS Performance. And let me tell you, those guys are phenomenal. I have nothing wrong with Texas Speed. Never dealt with them. You know, a lot of the guys on our forum, SilveradoSierra.com, they recommend Texas Speed, and that's fine. By all means, I don't have a problem with them whatsoever. But I got a hold of AMS on the phone and was talking to him, and I sent him a couple emails. And the guy Sean there, he's been phenomenal. He's been a big help. He's been a great go-to. Let's put it that way. I sent my ECM off today to have it flashed. I'm gonna delete the entire AFM active fuel management system. And that kit for $600 for a 6-liter engine includes everything: the cam, the lifters, all the gaskets. You know, it includes everything. I couldn't beat it, not for $600. So that's where we're at. As soon as I get the parts, I'll start putting it together, and you'll know more after the end. Right.